Oh, yes,
Thank you
yeah.
for the information.
Just want to speak to the public, obviously only to a number, but essentially, we don't have a quorum present. Like I was describing a moment ago, we want to hear from you, and we'll just take your comments down and then at least get that process completed. And if we get an,
I have a question.
Yeah.
That's available to any of the members after the meeting, right?
have to talk.
Anything that they were gonna say.
Oh, yes. In fact, this is gonna go on the town's website.
Okay, good. Good.
YouTube.
Okay. Thank you. Just so they can be informed, I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
What we have is Michelle Anderson and Charlie Cerami, and there's others, but obviously, since they're not here, I won't go through any names.
They will
But-
probably show up.
I expect one more, which would get us to a quorum, which is beneficial. But other than that, the public is here. What I'd like to hear from you, and I don't know if you saw that document on the website, but essentially, it's the opportunity for the public to comment on what the planning board has reviewed and thought this is worth putting before the town council for consideration. We'll also hold public hearings on this. But before we go that far, we try our own public hearings to make sure we got our ducks in a row.
Oh, we can- Yes.
Awesome.
Is that, is that,
That was a Zoom, not sure, hopefully muted, they must have been
okay?
been muted.
Ryan, if I can use first names and your name, again? Caroline.
Yeah,
If,
well, we didn't see the recommended changes to the ordinance. A different issue, but I'll just say it seems like you're looking for opportunities to make the town more hospitable, more open to different types of infill developments in the downtown.
It's not so much downtown, but it's more focused on residential. This is a factor across the state, and it's something in this town, as small as we are, that there's limited residential opportunities for people coming to the community. And so what we have proposed removal of different limitations on residential development in different zones and allowed more development within residential and commercial properties, again, focusing on residential accommodations. All right.
Yes, well, we're here actually about a related, very related subject. If I could take a few minutes and I'll explain sort of who we are and so my name is Caroline Pryor. I live in the town of Ryan McEachern, who's from Hebron, and we're working with a project called Zero Energy Homes.
Oh, can I just interrupt you? When you gave your locations, but could you just state your addresses at those?
Like a physical address, like.
Yes. Just because we'll have something in the record.
Okay, like you want my mailing address?
Mailing address, place of residence.
Yes, the town of Mount Desert, 459 Sound Drive.
Okay, thank you. 459.
Yep.
That's the street address, house address.
Yes,
All right. And the street was again,
Sound, S-O-U-N-D.
thank you.
Is it noisy?
It's on a state highway, but it refers to Stone Sound,
Okay.
down near Bar Harbor.
All right, Ryan, why don't you give me your complete
It's 92 Greenwood Mountain Road.
92 Greenwood. Mountain Road. And the is
Hebron,
Hebron. You came a ways.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Anxious to see you folks.
That happens when you have an idea.
Zero Energy
Is that a place of business?
Yeah, so we're a startup company and we've been working with our Katahdin for about 3 years, and we've been in a project phase, and we are going from project idea to business. And so what the mission of our company is to build quality, affordable, zero energy homes with main building materials. And Millinocket, the Katahdin region is obviously just the right location with Golden Road. Ryan has been in touch with suppliers, Huber and LP and Pleasant River. So we're lining up the supply chain. So it's.
Yeah. Right.
And I go through some formalities that just materialize.
You
It's
materialize.
official now.
It's
Yes.
official now. We have 4 members of the planning board present: Charlie Ceramic, myself, Michelle Anderson, and Heidi Wheaton. Just to deal with formalities, we have minutes from a previous meeting on May 11th, excuse me, that I'd like review and a motion to accept or amend them.
What page? Yeah, button back. Oh. Right? Oh, no, Oh.
Oh, yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
I gave one to John. That's not code enforcement, right? Code enforcement. Now, I was sick for 7 weeks with the COVID. I don't vote on this, correct?
No, you can vote on it. Obviously, you don't have to, but, and it's not required. Even though we have the quorum, it doesn't mean that you have to vote. Give it a minute for you guys to digest that. If there's any questions. If not, we'll follow up with motion.
So you have an agenda, Andy?
I have a format for the meeting, an agenda for this
Tonight?
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not extras, but we can get extras. But essentially, I sent it out by email. This is my copy, and unfortunately, it's good on one side, but the other side is old paper. You want me to read the business meet as a new business? Was that your interest?
My interest would be.
Okay, the new business states, a public hearing will be held to review comments from the public concerning proposed changes to Millinocket zoning ordinance, which will allow opportunities to increase residential development in the community.
In the community.
Right.
Okay, I just didn't want. I didn't want the misunderstanding that it was all just in the zones that are. Out of town, above town, around town. It's the whole community, including downtown.
It's the whole community, but essentially,
Including downtown.
we reviewed, the planning board reviewed this on April 12th and April 27th.
Right.
At those meetings, what we're gonna be essentially having public comment on, and what you just received a moment ago with the summary that was supposed to go into the town newspaper that never got that far.
Oh, it didn't.
I'm sorry?
It did not?
No, it did not get in the paper, but, oh, you didn't get, that was on the town's website.
What's this?
That was.
This is the-
yeah, that. Another one of
I
mine.
never get anything nice.
Yeah, there you go.
I couldn't even get out of bed.
But essentially, the allowed uses in two different zones are the two paragraphs at the beginning, and the change in lot size requirements are the remaining paragraphs in that summary. And that's what we were getting input from the public tonight. So Charlie, answer your questions. Nothing is limited as far as discussion, as long as we stay on the subject matter.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that. Yes, thank you.
The agenda that this is tonight's meeting, this is the minutes. We're gonna,
This is
Vote on it, right?
Yes, but this is not so much the agenda as much as this is the substance.
okay.
What's going to be discussed.
Okay.
There's been a no motion. There's no motion.
I will move to accept the minutes. I have a question, but I think I'm gonna be able to address it later in the meeting.
Well, whatever. Motion to accept the minutes.
I motion.
Did you second that, Heidi?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. There's been a motion made and seconded to accept the minutes from May 11th as presented. Any discussion on the motion? None. Those in favor? Let's see who's opposed. Is there anybody opposed? No. Thank you very much.
That's quick.
Well, they're not controversial minutes, and there's not much to it.
Yeah.
And with that, we can resume where you were, Carolyn. All right.
You might want to catch up.
But well, actually, I'll just start again and.
That would be good.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
What are those chairs?
So we grab another chair.
Caroline Pryor, Ryan Keckern, and we are with a startup company called Zero Energy Homes. And we have been working under the umbrella of our Cotton for about 3 years. And it's really exciting. We're going from concept to implementation. And the product that we would like to build is a quality, zero energy, affordable home made with Maine Forest products. And we would like to make modular buildings so we can lower the price point. And yeah, so we've been working on a financial model, business plan, and we are ready to build the first 2 homes. And we are looking at a property. I brought some maps. This is a 7-acre property. And who's your code enforcement officer? Are you? Yeah, so you know, you already know about this through.
I received an email from you, I read through. it.
Yeah, great, yes. And Tom
Malcolm?
Tom Martin had also been in touch about it. So, so what I did is I brought, I
senator?
have only have 4 copies, but
Is it Tom Martin?
The senator?
No.
Tom Martin
Malcolm,
is
Martin.
Wabanaki.
the
Yeah.
senator. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Lisa.
Wabanaki.
Yeah.
yeah. Do you want a set
I
through?
printed, I did probably see me,
Probably
sent me,
the same.
yeah, I printed that off already.
Yeah.
My office.
So,
I have a real quick question if you're not going to get into it.
Yeah.
In old and behind in the times,
mhm.
what exactly does zero energy mean?
It means you'll have no heating or utility bill or a very low one.
But I
So
will
it
have
means-
the utilities.
You have, it's on the grid. It's not off the grid.
Okay,
It means that the house generates as much electricity
okay.
as it uses. So it's all like super efficient heat pumps.
It zeroes out.
This is Ryan's builder.
Okay,
Yes, you're not gonna sacrifice anything.
It's like really comfortable and it's great technology. It's,
Okay.
you know, in practice in a lot of places. And so you can either have solar panels on the house or it can be through buying a share in a community solar farm. And I think maybe 2 planned for this area. So it would be really easy to do that. So, so that's the concept. And, you know, at full scale production, the vision is for this to build like 300, 400 homes per year. With,
Not in this community, obviously, or
oh, well, it's a statewide project, but
okay.
yeah, you don't need 500 homes a year here. Or 300 homes a year.
They have to be
But
built,
manufactured in this.
right, they need to be manufactured. You can't like remediate. Is that what you're saying? Community?
Yeah, it's not about like weatherizing old homes, it's new housing stock. So,
Okay,
you know, as you were pointing to, and I think the connection with the recommendations you're thinking of as a community, which is to ease up the opportunities for building. So here's the situation that brings us here tonight, in addition to the opportunity to tell you about the project. We're looking for a place to locate the first two units. One of the pieces in your packet is a sketch of what they would look like. These would be 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-floor homes. You know, handsome. We want them to be in a neighborhood on town water and sewer for a family. Our Katahdin, you know, when they purchased the mill site, they got all these other parcels around town. So the map with the red line is a 7-acre parcel that is up on Westwood Avenue. And
near the Congregational Church, or the Nazarene Church, right?
It's up by the playground area.
Okay.
playground?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right
Okay.
adjacent to this playground. And then there's the
Mhm.
golf course behind it.
Mhm.
There's a brook that runs through the middle of the property. But there's some very buildable acreage, building lots right on the road.
Thank you.
And so it's an opportunity to bring 2 units of housing, but the problem is it's in, I don't know what's the problem, but it's in a resource recreational protection zone, a whole 7 acres. So the third handout that you have there are the test pits that were done. So
The test
test pits
hits.
to see what the soil
Oh,
substance is.
okay.
This, you can see the road here, and the idea would be to locate, you know, 1, ideally 2 homes right by the road. And so the question is, you know, from a planning board perspective, is that something that you would consider?
What you're dealing with is a change of zone, and the planning board can make a recommendation, but it would have to go to the town council. And I don't think something like this could go through like a board of appeals, this subject. It has to go to a town council, but there would have to be a change
Change, yeah.
in that zone.
And it begins here.
Well, we would discuss it,
That's what I
yes.
mean. It begins here, then we go to the town council with it.
Yeah, with our recommendation. Otherwise, but.
Anti-recommendation.
Yeah, but essentially, it would have to be done at the town council. Right.
Quick question, Westwood Avenue, is that the one running at the bottom of the golf course?
You know where the
That
church
goes
is?
up past the playground or the old playground? Yes, so that is that road and then it goes on to Cottage Road from there. So you're talking about the, basically the playground to the golf course. Okay,
I mean, it's not that, the parcel's not that big.
Yeah, like if you know, our interest would be if you think a rezoning is appropriate, we would be interested in rezoning the minimum amount. I mean, if you go and walk the property, which I really encourage you to do, it looks like a great place to put 2 houses, and you can have it be nicely sited, keep away from the brook in the back. You know, there's also a snowmobile trail that's important to maintain that access, you know, and then, you know, what happens beyond the property, you know, it's not really, we're just like to put 2. You know, what, if one is
Looking for enough room for 2 house lots
basically,
on Westwood Ave.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Westwood
the
Avenue.
rest of that land property too is, it's behind other houses, so. It's from that.
Could I ask, where is the playground from here? Just for reference, I don't care one way or another.
yeah, so, it's right here, it's adjacent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's why it's recreational, zoned recreational.
Well, not being local,
Seems like part of the golf course.
It's
Okay.
part of, it's on this group right here.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is- I don't know if you can see on the zoning map, it's part of this OR.
Mhm.
And what they're looking to do, I don't point or a pen on me or anything, but what they're looking to do is you have house lots here, they're looking to add a couple house lots, so this is no longer an OR, then it would be part of the R2. Because you have these lots here around it, it's around it.
Yep.
So just change, if we could change even, if
Just
let's say
separate.
it's a parcel of that land, enough for 2 lots to make the R2 and leave the rest of the OR possible.
And those 2 houses that would be developed, is that going to be, I know there was some talk about it being specifically, you choose the people that go in there so that they can monitor the energy, and you have an ideal kind of family in there so that it's all kind of, you're getting the data that you need, and it's more of a research project that they're living in. Is that correct?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we would like to, definitely, we want to get the data. Data is critical. You know, that these 2 homes are the proof of concept for the business. But the plan is for the first 2 homes to be owned by Wabanaki Public Health and Wellness. And we would also been working a lot with Penquist CAP agency. So they would choose and I believe they would be rented.
Okay.
They wouldn't be purchased.
We wouldn't own them, but either Wabanaki Public Health and Wellness would own the 2 homes, and then they would rent them.
But the homes would be rented, a single family use.
Yes.
Long-term, like year at a
Yes,
time?
not really like a research, like, it's a really interesting question because we want to respect people's privacy and ability to lead their life. But on the other hand, people want to, like, we may have to have an open house so people can come inside and, you know, at some point. But the idea is to build as many more as quickly as possible because there's such a, like, 2 houses exist.
Who is going to fund the purchase of the land and the building? Is this coming out of our Katahdin monies as research or Wabanaki monies as research? How is this all
The
tied in?
financing, so the land is owned by our Katahdin, and they are willing to donate is a big word, but give it, transfer ownership. It's they feel that the need for housing is so great in Millinocket that you know,
We do too.
and it's not, it's all part of the bigger picture, the revitalization of the community opportunities. So we hope to get some of the federal and state grant funding that is now available for housing, affordable housing, community development recovery. There will likely be a lender involved.
So this isn't coming out of Wabanaki monies that they've received grants from?
That's to be determined. We have to figure out the financing.
Because I am a housing support specialist for Wabanaki on their payroll with that endeavor. So I would probably have to recuse myself from this decision on the planning board because I don't want to appear biased one way or the other. So although that is what we're trying to do is develop and continue to find availability for housing in and around this whole community, I don't think I could vote on that.
Great point. Yes. Thank you for. Yeah.
Now I have a part-time job with Wabanaki. I run the recovery center up the road.
You do.
Mhm.
That's so great.
Thank you.
I love it. It's such a small, it's like everything's all connected. It's familiar. Well, we've been working with the Elmina Bisula Foundation and Basin, Penquist, Jason Bird, and just trying to figure it out.
Some
And
people we work with.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm just
mine
wondering-
specific is
Yeah.
housing. I think yours being.
That's
a
all I was gonna
social-
say. I have a part-time job there, basically doing what I do.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I just want to put that out there. I don't think that I have any conflict, actually. They just pay me for talking to people about recovery.
Good points that
Basically.
you both make on feeling uncomfortable making decisions in this regard. However, something like this, especially in a non-development zone, is going to have to start
Right.
with.
I
this
don't feel
board.
uncomfortable. I'm just presenting that out there
Yeah.
so that everybody's aware.
And that's very good to be upfront. Good.
I
But
learned that.
Yeah,
I
but that
teach that.
is something that's going to start with this property as far as
Mhm.
dividing out.
I understand. that.
Yeah, I think that
something.
would be the
I just wanted
solution.
to
If
be
it,
transparent.
I think the point you were making is that it is contiguous to it, is it an R2 zone?
Right.
And if,
No,
If-
oh, yes, there's an R2
Next to
zone all
the-
around.
the
it.
button R2.
All around it.
Yeah. just sort of a slice of it,
Yeah.
that is the most appropriate, and what you're seeing in this photo, this, there's the evergreens, but this was all cleared and filled by Great Northern, and so we had to do test pits, and we'll have to dig out, and
So that's all Bill.
it's fill, and we have to stabilize it, so that's.
When you say you
But that's the-
stabilize it, Carolyn,
Make sure it doesn't roll away.
So you will have. So basically, our foundation would go down 8 feet foundation, some spots that fills 10 feet, so we'll have to excavate 10 feet, bring it back up, proper fill 2 feet. To put in the foundation.
okay, as far as what you've already done and what you've already seen in these test pits, when you open up a hole, is it gonna become a pool? Or is this gonna be,
No,
no,
no.
because the
There's
back
actually-
of that is, I walked through it, it's.
Yeah. It's like any other house foundation in a wet area. You can still build, and there's still ways to mitigate that. It's actually the benefit of that property for us just to build the very front edge. Doing it further back, because that's actually, if you can envision it close to the road, there's a lot less fill. The fill is all down into that wetter area, so it actually keeps us out in the dry.
All of Lower Katahdin is on Bill. My house is on Bill.
But
With the
essentially,
And it's the same thing with existing houses that are next to it. There's a house that is just adjacent to the property that's further down Westwood, that would be at the same
Yeah.
elevation.
and,
It's the same elevation as the house.
and the same thing, when you go in more in a northerly direction, you start going down, and then you start getting into some real wet ground.
Yeah.
But this area is,
Yeah, we did have SW Cole do an engineering study and, draw out some drainage. Hopefully, one of the homes will have a full basement.
mhm.
I have two questions, excuse me, for you. You're not talking about anything that would turn this into an Airbnb, right? This
No,
would be families or people who live here year round.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The funding, whatever mix it's gonna be, will absolutely require affordability covenants and
Okay,
not
okay.
for
Right,
lodging.
okay.
And what
That's
is the
my-
basis for your continuing to look at additional houses? I mean, you get 2 finished within 6 months to a year.
You want to build
What-
more?
Yeah, what then is the criteria for you to settle in and create the company here to manufacture these types of houses? Kind of time frame or turnover are we looking at?
And that was the second question I was going to ask, actually, just so you know.
Thinking alike, yeah. So this is an ideal time frame. Ideal time frame would be people would be in this winter. And if we can show the homes to potential investors, we are trying to raise $18 to $20 million to have a manufacturing facility about eventually 100,000. Will employ 50 full-time equivalents. That's at scale. That's at the that upper end of production. We're looking at a startup facility at a smaller scale. So we have so many people want to buy these homes, but we have to point to it and say, this is what it is. And we need that, like you said, after someone's lived there for a year, we need that data,
Information.
because as you know, you're in your own special climate zone here. So we're choosing to build these in the most extreme Maine winter temperatures, because if it works here,
It'll
it
work
can work
anyway.
anywhere.
So just so I have
And
this,
Ryan already knows that it does work. I mean, this is what he does for a living.
So I'd like to add that, so there's, we were a proof of concept for us as a business. But I built these houses and have built these houses for 10 years. So I ran a modular manufacturing facility in South Paris, Maine for 4 years.
I lived in
And
that
and I
area.
currently, so close to South Paris, so
Mhm.
I ran that manufacturer, one of those manufacturers up there. And I still set and do full GC for that, not for that manufacturer, but I'm getting the product from that manufacturer.
Mhm.
That being said, the designer of our homes, our potential homes, is the same designer that I interact with currently, and it's the same building process, building net zero ready homes at a very high level, like high quality home for 20 years.
so would your idea then be to build more in Millinocket? Or across the state? I mean, you're,
Where they would be delivered to.
Yeah.
It's a statewide business
Mhm.
headquartered in the Cotton region.
So if this all works out and they're glowing about how wonderful it is and how much money they now have to spend, how would I go about buying one, or how would, anybody in Millinocket, would we ask for it to be built? Or do you plan to build some and then put them up for sale?
So we're not gonna be, so we're building these ones as pilot houses. But ultimately, we're gonna be the manufacturer of the product.
Okay,
So, in the case of the way the modular network works in the state of Maine right now,
Mhm.
I'm a licensed dealer or builder of a modular home. So I buy from the manufacturer, and then I do all the GC work, so I
okay.
install the foundation, site work, and all that other stuff. Essentially, that'll work similarly, so ultimately,
So I just call you up and go, Ryan, I want to move into a house like that. Would you build it for me?
I mean.
Gotta get one.
Okay, what?
The question that I have is, you've had the huge warehouse facilities up in the South Paris, out of South Paris area. Would you be doing the same similar style here, since you're going to be the ultimate overseer of these things, or are you going to piece them out and bring them down?
Similar style. So it's a similar style to some of the products. So the the only manufacturers left in that area right now, they built a lot of different styles of homes. So the standard modular home that you'd see at a dealer driving down.
Right.
Wherever.
26, yeah.
Yep, 26, exactly. For whatever reason, and that doesn't modular homes, but to a net zero, to a very high-end custom, right? We're entering the market in a little bit of an area that really nobody's in right now, and it's a necessity. So ultimately, we'd be manufacturing everything out of our facility, and then developers will basically be developers in conjunction with like a Walmart or something like that. They would buy through the developer from us the modular section, and then the developer would develop the site and do all the foundation.
Okay. One more
So I
question,
think
Karen.
another way that I would, add to that is we see a lot of the homes going to groups like Pinquist. Pinquist said they'd like to buy 150 to 200 of these homes per year.
Me too.
And that's just one, and then there's the municipal, and then the other affordable housing. So that's a key part of the market. But as Brian was saying, there is also a way to sell directly, somehow directly. We're going to be a rep in between. One of the concepts that we're playing with from a business standpoint is if people who work at the factory could somehow put sweat equity in and build their own home or build their neighbor's home, to say, hey, I have an extra 8 hours on my Saturday, I want to go in, there's, so somehow that,
Like-
because the need for housing stock and your recommendations, really illustrated the need for housing. So it has to be good, clean.
We used to
housing,
have
safe
here, we used to have a time banking thing, organization that did exactly that with the sweat equity. I don't know whatever happened to it. Remember that?
No.
See?
So the
I've got a
house
memory.
itself, this isn't a tiny house. This is an average ranch, 2, 3 bedroom.
Three.
That design right there, so currently we have plans for basically three designs. That house is a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath.
And that's what you're looking at for the first two.
Correct.
Will you do tiny houses?
That sounds so that you're saying.
Well. I'd
They
like
would,
to
don't
look
work
at
with the
them.
net zero?
Well, I mean, we're trying to cater to the single family.
Oh,
home,
big families.
Family.
The real necessity.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah, but you know, the other thing is like, we have so many people who maybe a studio place that was 600 square feet. Whether it's in Bangor or Portland or maybe people who are refugees or immigrants, people who are ADA, or just seniors, so.
So the 1 bedroom.
This is part of, we're just doing, we're applying for funding to do a statewide market assessment so that we have better data about what. our
Could I
market-
ask, do you have any, look, Carol, right? Caroline. Do you have any literature at all we could look at or no?
I didn't bring any, but I can follow up and send you
Good.
some.
I'll give you my
Yeah, we're
card.
not like public yet, we're just
Right.
coming out of this research phase and putting our business plan together. And we don't have a website yet, but I can send you a.
Yeah.
description.
And do you have a track record anywhere that we could look at?
They're their
Well,
startup.
these will be the first two under the banner of Zero Energy Homes.
Okay.
So this is our demonstration project.
Okay.
The track record is really, Ryan's, Ryan, and we're also the architect that we're working with. It's a great track record, great build.
Okay.
I would imagine the investors are gonna be asking these questions.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm asking because I'm really interested.
Today. So we're just starting, we're trying to raise about $300,000 for some planning work to get us through the end of the year, and then comes the big capital, we have to buy a big saw.
Can I ask you a question? How does this lot materialize?
Yeah, so this is what our component acquired as part of the broader Great Northern.
Is this actually pinned on the ground? This lot, I mean, why the line, I could see the lines bordering Cottage Road. Obviously, they must butt up against the adjoining properties that are developed. But going further west, how did that line materialize?
Yeah, I don't know.
The
I don't
west is
know.
this
Did Great Northern gift the golf course?
the golf course. I don't know
Technically,
where
they gifted much of to houses and everything, technically.
That's the impression.
but you said, someone said about our Katahdin. How much of this is our Katahdin? Or is only the
Just
lot?
that 7 acres. It's a 7-acre parcel.
This
It's
area
outlined
within the,
red.
okay,
Is the whole thing is 7 acres.
and
that's
the
only 2
adjoining
lots?
property going further west towards the golf course? Do you know if that's the golf
That's
course
the golf course.
in there?
That's the golf course.
Okay, I see your test pits are close to Westwood.
Yes.
Okay, what would be, I say advantageous, is to have something that we can bring before the public that says, this is what is being considered here.
Like a site plan.
A site plan that these 2 lots, I'm assuming 2 lots, maybe it's not. But something that shows what is gonna be developed rather than biting off this chunk.
As is.
Well,
Yeah, we'd be glad to do that. If you're, are you, I guess the bigger question is, are you willing to consider making, as a board, a recommendation to the town council? And if you are, we will get, we can find a surveyor, get a site plan.
yeah.
And get that back to you so that you have a more specific document. to show
Yeah,
exactly.
what we need, or what would be beneficial is this 7 acres opens up bigger can of worms than maybe needed to deal with the Westwood area
Mhm.
here to the south end of this 7-acre property.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see.
Just to
Yeah.
get something of a configuration that says these were gonna be, I say again, 2 lots, whatever it's gonna be. And of course, you can work with Evan on the lot size in this zone. If it goes into, well, of course, I'm not gonna go through this document on the OR since development is not even an option, but to give some indication to the planning board that this is the area that's being asked to be rezoned, and only deal with that at the present
That
time.
sounds good.
Well, it just
Yeah.
is a smaller can of
It
worms.
is, and we have, working with a farm that was, helping us and personnel change, we lost a few months, so we're anxious to, we need that site plan for financing and other purposes. So we would like to do that, so we'll do that and we'll bring that back to you.
Yes, please. If I can, if that's gonna, again, just focus on the 2 lots in the front, again, I'm keep on saying 2 lots.
That's okay
These
too.
lots in the front, and there's gonna be a road built into this property, I'm assuming?
No, a
No.
driveway.
Okay, a
driveway.
private driveway.
Well, it's,
Yeah, if we can, like you said, if we can chunk off 2 lots at the front edge on the road, then we'll simply have.
Driveway.
Driveways.
Yeah, but I mean, for the rest of the area, is there anything in the back of your minds that's looking at the other part? Because what I was gonna say is that should be in the configuration that there's gonna be a right of way or some sort of access to this remaining part of this property.
that's a
It's not.
question that our photographer, I think, as the owner of the balance of.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you don't own the property per se now? No, okay, so essentially, if the lots were more identified along Westwood, that would limit your financial burden. I'm putting words in mouth, but limit your financial burden rather than, having this whole configuration here. It would help us as far as pursuing this with the public. And then I'm not foreseeing an issue there, but
Well,
we have to go through those.
Steve Sanders did mention that there was some interest in the dog park and how people feel about.
Isn't that at the
economic
other
background.
end? I believe that's at the other end, isn't it? On the other side, that's why I was asking about
I
where
think
the park
they're now
was.
interested in the playground.
Mhm.
There's a small area developed right here at the corner of
Mhm.
Westwood and Cottage
Right,
that's got
with the
a
hoops.
couple of basketball
Yeah.
hoops.
That's
couple
where they're now
swings.
considering for the dog park, is why I was asking in the first place. I know that that's,
Actually, I believe that's separated, separate lot.
Yeah,
is it
yeah, there's a chunk.
away from this property?
It's
It's
between,
Jay,
Pardon?
it's between.
Okay.
So the park's right there, and then there's like a field almost.
Mhm.
between- Next to that property.
Okay.
But I think that
Yeah,
is where the dog park is.
I have a question for you.
yes.
Miss Caroline asked if we would consider the issue. Right? Is
As
that
far
what you
as-
said? As far as being open to hearing about it and maybe voting on it. Is
Uh,
that what you were saying, asking?
Yeah, like if we came here.
Isn't
and
that
you're
what we
like,
do anyway?
"Absolutely,
Yes.
no
I don't need a
way."
motion.
No,
would say,
we
okay.
should, just to
We'll
get
have
it
to
on the
serve
record.
Okay, I move.
But essentially, what
haven't
it is we're not gonna make a decision tonight,
No,
but I'd like to get the board's input
Right.
and that identification on the ground of what is gonna be asked for a change of zoning between this smaller area versus 7 acres. It would be beneficial
I'm not saying
to
we
have a
vote.
smaller can of worms.
Definitely, I
Okay.
agree, 100%. We want
I
to
have
keep
a
it as
question.
simple as possible.
Okay.
Yes, Joey.
I'm looking at this map here. And you mentioned something about the open space being protected. And on this map, I see recreation protection.
Recreation, it's OR is, yeah.
which I want to get the definition of that.
Oh,
Well, I can't give you off the top of my head from the zoning manual, but essentially, it's essentially a recreational area that's not slated for development.
And formerly it wasn't for development.
Right,
But-
it wasn't for development.
It's not the brook that goes through it.
It's not
It's not the brook that goes through it that,
a brook, no,
Needed
there's no
protection.
brook there. It's just the,
yeah, I'm looking for the answers to these questions.
okay,
Well, there is,
Recreational development, that's what recreational protection is what we're talking about.
yes, OR.
No,
And-
wetland protection. or anything associated.
It's not wetland, it's
No.
not,
no, not the area that where we want to put the homes, but I'm sorry, I don't have a better map, but okay, if you can look on this, like the lighter brown, which is the deciduous trees, right?
Right,
what is
And
it
then you have
again?
the green,
What is it again? The lighter
The lighter
brown.
the
brown.
lighter brown here,
Is
and then you
that-
see the darker green. The line in between, that is a flowage.
That's the flowage right
That's the
there.
flowage, and you can see where they cleared up to the flowage at some point,
So
you know,
that is
40 years
clear
ago.
that, I'm gonna call it sandlot. Does it
Mhm.
actually look like a sandlot?
sand,
Sandlot. It looks like the earth has been moved around a lot and some boulders have
And
been.
it has been cleared already for,
So this was all cleared
yeah,
at some point and is grown back with some birch and a few others. But you can see the dark line there. That's where the flowage is. And we're interested right here on the road. Two lots right here on the road. So that's when we get a survey, that's what we'll.
and on
so-
this map, I see 3 or 4 of those sample spots.
We did 6 test pits there, and those were all deemed suitable for,
Now, is that part of your plan going forward, maybe to put 2 or 3
6?
more homes?
you know, the short of,
It's not part of our necessity. Our necessity is again, pilot homes. Give a good representation of what we're manufacturing. It is our, like Caroline mentioned, it is our property, so obviously they may have a desire for other stuff, so whatever we do as far as
Yeah.
detailing things.
Okay, I'm understanding that it's gonna remain Architect's property.
the backland,
These 2 sites
Yes.
will be
Donated.
donated to your organization.
yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, okay, and the only concern for the wetland, that's the only reason I brought the subject up, and then another concern is if we're going solar, we need to cut trees to get the full benefit of the sun.
These units, and we'll not speak in help, these units might not have solar, so there's not a necessity for solar in these homes. You still have a very low energy bill. The solar is what would ultimately make them net zero. So the solar would just bring in addition. To be honest with you, I haven't looked at north-south orientation and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, my dream is to have them have solar, and we've talked about maybe a possibility of a ground mount system so that they would share, the 2 houses would share. The orientation is excellent. It's birch. And one of the neighbors approached me when I was out there and he asked if when we cut some of the, well, you'll have to clear the driveway and the home sites.
Yeah.
And I think the exposure could be good. You know, it does cost a little bit more. It's like we pay more upfront, but in the long term, we get the benefit. The cool thing about if we can do the solar is it will demonstrate 100% of that's exact product.
that might be in the back of your mind, and I'm not poo-pooing it. That's gonna be a decision on the development of the 2 sites. But what's kind of come before the planning board is those, I say 2 sites again, those,
2 lots.
that area that's gonna be rezoned or proposed to be rezoned. That we could have something, and essentially that Westwood Avenue lies roughly east-west. So essentially, if you think of that in front of me, then behind me is south. So as far as any solar or anything, you're not fighting an uphill battle. And it's already hardwoods, it's already deciduous. So that's not here nor there because we're not discussing that. But that area that's gonna be requested to be rezoned, that's the first order of business. To get that before us is gonna start moving the pin ball, so to speak.
Yes, and we should probably talk further with you about lot sizes. I have not looked at that level of detail. I mean, on the one hand, we're saying from our standpoint, 2 feels like plenty. Like, we would be thrilled to have 2. But there is housing need in this community. And I know that our compadre and the planning board, we don't want to impact the wetlands or impact the soil there. However, you are looking to increase the density, which is your reading. So,
Problem with that lot is that what you have for space on that lot and a bunch of street. Westwood Ave is the only street that actually abuts that lot, so it really only gives you whatever you have for a measurement on that street. Is about all it gives you as far as for housing, otherwise you have to go into that lot goes behind other houses. So Westwood is the only thing you have abutting for access to that. I'd have to look at the measurements of the map downstairs and see what the measurements are for house lot and an R2. In fact, I think maybe only the.
Roughly a quarter of an acre.
We can hash out the detail. I think to be able to get at least 2 house lots on that street. I think the rest of the lot, as far as being developed for housing, is probably impossible. I think it's gonna have to be left with the open recreation, whether it's a sporting trail or whatever. I think it's a good idea, personally. Like there's.
Yeah,
Keep going forward with it if you can.
thank you. That's really helpful. They have an inventory of parcels scattered around town. And a couple of winters ago, Steve Sanders and Tom Martin went and looked at them, and they looked at ingress, egress, developability, and this one rose to the top from maybe 5 or so.
Abilities.
Yeah, I mean, that's again to have it on town water and sewer, and then the families, kids can walk, there's a playground next door. It just seems like a really,
We have water and sewer.
Well, this year, everything's kind of already there, water, sewer, everything's already there. You don't have to run new poles. You don't have to run through a bunch of wood or anything like that. Access to some of it's part of. You're already abutting all of the.
As far as this isn't H2, but essentially it's surrounded by H2, not surrounded, but it's encapsulated by a lot of it is H2. Essentially, those are quarter acre lots. Road frontage is 100 feet. You've got, if you had again 2 lots, not having a rule, but that's got to be more than 200 feet, right there.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough for 3, but I think it's enough for 2.
Yeah.
I glanced
They
at
could
it,
have a
I
shared
looked
driveway.
at it,
you did,
I got
oh,
your
good.
email on it. Looks to me like you could do 2 lots.
Tony?
Hold on one second. As far as the shared driveway, talk to Evan, because there is certain things that are limited on people having shared driveways. Just to
Okay,
make sure that you're aware of it.
yeah, I didn't know, so thanks for flagging
Well,
that.
just pursue things, but just be aware that it might be more conceptual than actual. I'm sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, would the public have to comment on this?
The public comment would be on rezoning this area. If
That
we as a
piece.
planning board decide that whatever the property and size is, the planning board has been asked to consider rezoning this OR area that's going to be more limited in the size than 7 acres from OR to, and I would say H2, R2, excuse me, because that's what surrounds it. Have it incorporated into the R2. And I wouldn't go through anything that would make it a spot zone. I think that would be another thing to avoid. But that's the size lots that are in the area, roughly quarter acre. but 100 foot of road frontage. And that's doable on what I see here on Westwood.
Okay.
And then can I ask you, the test pits that you had done, was that to determine if a leach field was suitable?
No.
Or just for development?
Just soil conditions. for building
For
on
just
various
stability.
hazards.
Okay,
Of the structure.
and I say you, there's information that can be submitted to the board
Yes.
that would confirm the suitability of the area.
We have an SW full engineering report. I'll send that to you as well, so you just have it as part of the file.
Send it or at least have it in hand so that when this whole thing happens, that's gonna be part of the package. Only because it gives us an idea if we're pursuing something that's attainable or if this is nothing that's gonna go anywhere, if you get my gist.
So the answer is yes, apparently we would consider it. That's
Oh,
what we
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
That's
Okay,
what we do.
Thank you, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, okay.
if you want to make that as a motion that we will consider this based on getting information on the property to be identified on the ground. And the intent of development, 1 lot, 2 lots, this deep, how far?
Okay, I'll do that. I move that we agree to consider the proposition in front of us. I have to go all the way into
No, just give me something of a concept.
the rezoning of a small portion of lot 137.
No, it isn't a lot.
It says
Yeah,
lot.
how did I
40.
get
It's
lot?
like
how did I-
lot 11, 137.
Oh, it is,
Okay.
thank you.
It is an actual lot on the map.
Where was I to?
Open space
Um,
recreational protection.
With the possible use of that rezoned land
For residential
for
development,
2 houses, 2 houses.
two lots for residential
Yeah,
development.
yeah.
Okay,
You've been doing this longer than me.
well,
Doing it
I'll-
longer than
if you don't mind me
everybody.
wordsmithing it later on, I'll just.
Just as long as I get credit.
Michelle, you putting that motion forward?
I am.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Charlie? Okay, we have a motion that's been made and second to essentially of the planning board to consider rezoning the area on Westwood Avenue for, I'll state 2 lots, but essentially what you're gonna submit to us is gonna indicate what's actually gonna happen. All right, but it's a minimum of 2 lots, I would say, based on the road frontage there for residential development.
I think I worded that well.
Okay, is there any,
Charlie seconded.
Charlie second, is there any discussion on that other?
I just want to add to the discussion. You mentioned the solar ground mount. I saw a project, I haven't actually seen it, but I heard of a project up in Houghton where they ground mounts into carports. And the people in the residents are really happy with
Oh,
cars.
wow.
being
They
out.
put the what into what?
They made carports out of these solar collectors.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want one of those
Everybody
too.
happy.
Yeah, we actually, project that I'm currently working on, there's a shed manufacturer in Unity. And, Maine Solar actually goes to the shed manufacturer, installs the solar system on the shed, and then they deliver the whole thing as a.
We they had one like that one I built.
Same with you.
Yeah, it's a really good point. One of the things to make the homes livable, and we're already thinking about a subsidiary business that we may make, like porches and railings and sheds, but for the family, and particularly if you don't have a basement, you need some place to put your stuff. A little outbuilding, and if it had the solar on it, so that might be, well, what happens.
That's a really great idea.
Same, like particularly for a senior, I mean, that's livability or somebody. that's mobility. Thank you. Any ideas, we really welcome it. We've been gathering some of the best research from around the country, and we feel like we have a really viable project. And we just need to have a couple of really cool homes that we can point to.
Would you say affordable? What does that mean?
Yeah. that's a
What
good-
numbers?
that's
I'm
a
affordable
hard
to me would be
question.
$200. So I don't think you're doing that.
No, well, so the definition that the state of Maine uses, Maine housing uses for low income affordable is the definition that we're gonna be striving for 75% of the homes that we build.
Okay,
25% of the
can be
homes,
above.
we'd like it to be more of a moderate income or potentially customizable. That's part of our business model, so
Mhm.
that the higher end homes.
Pays for the
will
lower.
underwrite. We also, these low income homes are gonna need to have subsidy. Like affordable housing does today,
Mhm.
but also when you put
Like
climate. on
Section
top
8?
of it, Put Maine forest products, we can build almost the entire home. Almost the entire home from Maine materials.
Yes. Cool.
And so that's part of the puzzle that we have to put together is to figure out how to layer all of those.
How have you been working on this for 3 years and I'm just not hearing about it?
Pandemic, that's all.
Oh, okay, okay,
Sorry.
okay.
Well, thank you for allowing us to have a chunk of your time.
Well, it was applicable for the subject matter we're discussing. I say we're discussing, we haven't gotten that far yet, but essentially it's residential
Development.
development.
She said it was very close.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, you had Carolyn, Pryor,
Yes.
okay, Mount Desert,
Yes.
okay, 459, and I scribbled something here that I can't read my own writing.
Sound.
Sound,
Uh,
sound,
Road or Avenue
drive.
Drive. And the town is Mount Desert, and you got a zip there,
04660.
04660. Thank you.
Do
Okay,
you have a copy of this for the proposed changes that we're going to be discussing with the town and then bringing forth? to the town council?
Yes, I think this is what
you have it? Okay.
Tony gave us. Yes, it
Yeah.
was, when we arrived and you showed me this, it was, okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah, same goal.
Same goal. So
Yeah.
ours won't be 50.
So will you remember to send me any literature that you have?
I will send you a
Mm.
follow-up. I'll send it
Thank
to
you.
you and then maybe you.
Yeah,
can
I'll
share
distribute it.
Ryan, before you
Everything.
leave,
What
please,
I sent
your last name, spell it, please.
MAC,
MAC. Yeah,
EAC.
is that a capital E? Okay, EAC.
That's a good
HER.
question. Not yet
E.
directly. Do you
And-
know?
I just made with the colleagues, what you do.
Well, one of the one link, I would
And you've
love to
got
have it.
92 Greenwood
Something,
Mountain,
They just built a big.
Greenwood Mountain Road. Okay,
new
Hebron,
complex new
Maine.
building.
And I can look up the zip
Installation.
unless you got it off the
It's
top of your
this
head.
new installation that they're gonna be making.
It is there.
Two,
The timber HP, I don't know if you've heard about but they're making insulation out of wood fiber. The old Madison Mill? Yeah, the chips.
Wow.
And we would like to use that product as well, but that's, but they're trialing it at COA.
Yeah.
Will you guys be at the Common Ground Fair?
Ah, that's a great question.
Uh,
That's the kind of
As
stuff I
far
check
as-
out when when I go.
Yes.
I think it's alive this year.
As far as getting this ball rolling, I already said it, I'll repeat it. We need something that's gonna show where these lots are on the ground. All right, so that something can be surveyed and identified, given to Evan, that will get something before us. That the lots are gonna be for residential development is, I say a necessity, it's indicating what's gonna be done. That we need to know anything about buildings, solar, no. What we need is something that shows us what we're looking to rezone
Can
or
I ask one
recommend.
question on that?
I'm sorry?
Do you need a survey to start that process?
It would have to be surveyed.
It would have to be surveyed ultimately.
I believe, I mean, I can,
But if it's drawn for now and surveyed later, because we
that's a good
call,
question as far as just drawing it out first, see what chunk of that you want.
we call
And
it
then
five
we say,
surveys.
yes,
in a month.
we allow so many.
Everybody
feet,
is.
Then that be surveyed out, I guess that would make more sense. Yeah.
Waiting 8 months for a roof estimate.
If something can be identified with the landowner, one Katahdin, that says it's agreed upon, I'm putting words in your mouth, it's agreed upon that the area from this point to this point, if they're identifiable now, and a depth of 200 feet, 150 feet, 300 feet, you know, going along these boundaries, these perimeters. And then essentially that would be something we can bring before the planning board, before the public.
That's great. That's great. But verbal description. Yeah, that's creative.
All right.
Like, that's good.
All right,
Yeah, like
obviously
that's
the survey's gonna have to be done. This one's gonna have to put pins in the ground. But
But we can also flag it too. Just if,
Give you an idea of what you're looking at. Put a realization.
yeah, next time we come up, maybe we can arrange to meet you.
I guess that was one question I was gonna ask Tony, is if you need me for a few minutes, I could maybe show you downstairs real quick, or would you like try to meet another time? I mean, I know you've come a long way, so I don't wanna hold you up from getting home or anything, but I also wanna take advantage of you guys. being
Yeah.
here.
yeah, the only thing, is there someone still in the waiting? No. Oh, okay, but do you know if we drove them out because we weren't paying attention?
I
Or
doubt
if
it.
they were just tied in? No, okay,
I couldn't tell you.
okay.
They clicked out, I don't know.
They didn't click out at a point.
I'm sorry?
I didn't
Oh,
think
no.
about that, that's
Yeah,
right.
I just wanted to know, once Ryan and Caroline leave, the public is no longer present, and our presence here is no longer needed.
I just have
Okay.
a short discussion.
Yeah, okay, but at least as far
Yeah.
as the public
Yeah.
hearing part of it,
We can get there before Hannaford closes. What time is
I was
that?
gonna say, yeah, because I've
Is that
got a
9 o'clock or 8?
house meeting at 8, so
Oh, okay.
I've got to be back before, just before.
Also nice meeting.
all right, so
Thank
you
you.
guys are
Very
going
nice to meet
downstairs
you.
with,
Yes, yes, we'll loop back in touch.
all right,
as quick
please.
as we can.
Thank you.
Obviously, he's your contact as far as getting something before us.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Yes,
thank you.
Welcome.
Luck.
Um,
I just had a quick
thank you.
discussion.
You want me to take a few minutes with them, or?
Oh, yes, no, go right ahead. So,
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna have to shut that down.
yeah,
If this video was just gonna be on the town site, that's a different thing than it being on YouTube. And I don't think it's wise of us to ask people to disclose their home addresses on something that the entire world can access and
uh,
will access. And
well-
having been a burglar myself in another life, serious,
uh,
I can tell you that's good information if you're looking for a house that's robbed.
well, make a valid point. I say it's valid in the sense of the concern, but as far as the way the town has taken public testimony, people always identify themselves as far as their name and location.
Mhm.
Usually it's in town, not necessarily so with
Mhm.
two people from out of town. Yeah,
Right.
but essentially they were before us, and rather than not have that
I think it's an
information.
unwise idea, given the incidence of home invasions,
Yeah.
drug addiction, and people looking for people who are away from their home.
Let me ask,
I'm the only one that with that concern.
Alan, maybe we
It's
should
been with the
reconsider.
town council, anybody that approaches the town council gives them their address for decades.
yeah, but you.
No, not decades. They didn't used to do that at
town,
all when I
the
was.
town
speaking.
itself, you know, so-and-so Congress Street. you
And
know.
that's before it
Congress
was
Street, yeah.
remote. But I mean, there are other things we could do, ask for the town and then ask them to message us or whatever with their actual address, just so that people don't need to know, why do we need to know their address?
That's a good
We, if
question.
we're asking them, where do you live? The only reason to ask would be, do you have any valid reason to be here before our meeting, whether it's them or us?
That's one aspect of it. The other thing is when people come before the town council and the planning board, sometimes the proximity of wherever people live has bearance on what they're saying.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, if he said Hebron,
Yeah,
that's enough. We
Oh,
know
yeah.
Hebron isn't Millinocket. That's
Yeah.
really all we're looking for.
yeah, and you make a good point
We
there.
could have asked them to write it down. Just when the woman
Yeah.
started talking, it just, and then the whole thing with our landlord and her husband, you know, I just don't think it's a good idea. I'm talking about when they shot and killed
I
Wayne.
know.
I just don't think,
Shot and killed her landlord's husband.
yeah, Wayne LaPierre. I just don't think it's wise. They were here, we could have had them write it down.
It's, and yeah.
So, or, I mean, I really, as a
I'll keep that in
woman,
mind.
I wouldn't do it. And I think if I was a man, I wouldn't do it. Because you're putting yourself at risk, because it's on YouTube.
It is a worldwide web now.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, I'm not asking for changes, but essentially, we did not get any public input relative to what we,
The
And-
awards are fair.
yeah, well.
There's only 4 of
essentially,
us.
It's not surprising,
Yeah.
but that's the way things go. These aren't the most,
Do we have to do 2 public meetings?
no,
Just the
no,
one?
no, the announcement is 2, but the public meeting is 1. And then I'll draft a letter stating that essentially the planning board has made this as recommendation for consideration by the town council. There was no opposition stated at the public
There's
hearing.
no support either, but we'll just say.
Well, essentially.
Yeah. I have a
individuals
question.
that came before us.
You remember I said I had a question?
No,
about
I'm
this?
sorry.
My question is this. Where does it say about they're going to raise the ability, the height of a building from 50 to 60
The
or whatever it
allowed,
is,
the allowed height,
the allowed height.
right?
What difference does that make practically? Because it's not big enough for a story.
Run that past me. What do you mean?
What advantage is there to changing from 40 to 50?
10 feet?
Yeah,
10 feet would just about give you a
into the
story.
story? Okay,
And essentially,
okay.
what you're thinking about maybe is an existing building and putting a floor on
That's
top of
exactly
it.
what I'm thinking.
And what
You're
I'm
talking about a
thinking
new
about,
building.
a building that might develop with that configuration applying that essentially 50 feet
Okay.
is going to be the upper limit
Okay.
rather than 40. And I think that would give more flexibility to potential development, especially when things are maybe, how would you say, a possibility in the RD zone, since that zone is not as developed as other parts of the
Right.
community. And to do
Okay.
something in an area that's green versus developed.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I'm bad with.
Michelle,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
okay.
when we were discussing that, we were discussing solar panels at the same time
Mhm.
and being able to add it on to.
Oh, okay, because if we had the solar panels, that counts as the height? It counts in the height of the building? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
okay, got it.
why something was brought up.
I really like that cardboard idea.
So do we want to vote on this before I have to go,
When
or
you say vote on this,
bringing this forth to the planning, I mean, to the town council?
let me see. It says, rezone area along Westwood Avenue for residential development.
No,
it's talking about this.
the suggestions and changes we've made.
No, we already voted. I'm sorry. No, we already voted on that
So no,
That
no
was in-
opposition, says it just goes directly to them.
to the town council.
Yeah. okay.
Well,
Okay.
I won't send it directly. I'll send it to Peter.
You're gonna
He'll
just
take it before the town
take the
council.
crooked way
Well, I
around.
mean, it's just,
Courtesy.
we don't have anything to do directly with the town council.
He's the mediator.
He's
Peter's the
He's
mediator.
the intermediary.
Got it.
What I need is an adjourn, motion to adjourn.
I motion it.
I second.
Okay, 7:46.
I'll leave.
A motion by Heidi.
So the first one.
No, yeah, motion by Heidi, second by Michelle. What time does Hannaford close? That's my question.
I think it's
I agree
9,
with
but I
that.
could be mistaken.
Is there a way to do?
She used to do it.
I
She's an
know her.
accountant.
She did give us that.
Oh, really? Yeah,
20 some years ago.
20 some odd years ago.
Because
I
I got lost
gotta
on
admit,
Cottage
she's-
Street on the way there.
She's done my, our taxes for 44 years now.
That's why we keep it.
More than that. By the way, I dropped the ball, folks. Maybe you are well aware of that. I didn't send out the agenda until late. I sent it out to Diana and it got on website, but then I realized not that long ago that I never sent it to the board.
You're fired.
Well, I do apologize.
have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't
You
vote.
didn't realize it, but we.
Three of us voted aye. You're outvoted.
What's my next thing?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. That colored thing, is that something that you did?
That's actually the girls colored it. Remember, we were gonna put it up for the town to look at the various sections?
I was looking at, doing
It's
that with the
color-coded.
larger,
Yeah,
okay.
so I mean, we could blow it up on the screen if we had to, but they did all the different colors of the different zones.
That's nice that you
nice.
took that upon yourself to get that done.
The girls did it, but yes,
Well,
I delegate.
I do
Wait till they
appreciate it
become
because
women, they're really
Yes.
gonna be doing stuff.
I thought about that and talked to Evan. This is what came out of one of the files. Other than that, it was hard to find things that wasn't hanging on the wall.
Right, right.
And that
Yeah.
you did something. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
So we've got the smaller and the larger scale. So if we had to point to a section, like we were looking at the rural development sections, we could say
See all
here,
of
here,
it.
here, here.
But it's color coded. It gives you all
Color
the,
coded, yeah.
all the
Yeah, that's
zones.
what I asked.
Thank you very much. And
I'll tell you,
that,
please.
well, I am pleased. And that'll go to
Doesn't matter.
Evan's
it's expired.
office. That will also, and I'll have to wait to have Evan come back so
Yeah.
we can get this.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, John. Do
Thank you very much, guys.
we have another meeting date or? we gonna set
No,
them up?
but essentially, there's no need for us to set a date right now. As I'm saying that, I'm hoping I'm saying it wrong, because until we get something from them
Yeah,
that shows where this is being discussed and considered on the ground, we won't have anything that we can take before the public.
right.
Because we need something to show this is what's being requested for residential development.
Yeah. I'm going to do a drive-by.
All right.
they said in that training that I took, it shouldn't go individually, that it should go as
Go where? I'm sorry.
Hello, man.
to any kind of parcel that we're looking at or any kind of on-site visit, we shouldn't go individually, we should go as.
Well, essentially, we should go as a quorum, if you will.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Just so we don't, again, appear biased one way or the other, or having to talk to somebody. Look like we're swaying the decision one way or the other based upon our needs, our goals.
Yeah, no, we did that as a group years ago. I remember specifically why.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember we actually look at, but when we were location and observe whatever the condition was that needed to be observed.
Right.
All
Okay.
Thanks for the info.
Good point.
Good night. I wasn't thinking in that regard because I don't think in that respect.